we were not happy with them, and they weren't really satisfied either, and both parties were willing to walk away. That was a mutual agreement. We severed ties. Now we can move with McKinley.
I guess my concern is if we put this out for bid, and we get bids back, we accept the bid, and then the engineer comes in and says, you have to do this, which increases the cost. How does that affect the bid process? If we've already accepted a bid and then all of a sudden the price goes up.
The engineer will be at the pre-bids to answer all questions. So they will run interference for us because none of us in this room are engineers, and we're not going to have a conflict of interest. So they'll be present.
So they will be involved.
Just like ZMM was there, they had a person there for the pre-bid. McKinley will have an engineer there for the pre-bid. Yeah, and it's definitely been a long process, but we're trying to move as quickly as we can with this.
Any further questions regarding that? Okay, item D, policies to remain on public comment.
Make a motion that policies listed under item D
Yeah, we have a motion stand by Mr. Angel. It was. All right, we have a motion by Mr. Angel, seconded by Mr. Duncan, that the items under D remain on public comment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining. Let the minutes reflect that by a 5-0 vote, the motion is passed and those policies will remain on public comment. New business. Item A, approved purchases over $20,000.
You should have a new printout in your folders. We wanted to put these in order so you could see them better. Matheny Motor Truck Company and Transport. We would like to purchase a new driver's education vehicle with CARES Fund. This funding, you got a presentation by us in the summer. You approved all the things that we're going to do with the COVID money, and this one comes out of the CARES Fund. At the state level, they approved this as well, so this is okay. This is in bounds to buy a car for our students. They are also putting a brake on the passenger side to help out with the driver's ed instructor in case things go a little off kilter. We have on here McGraw-Hill, and it's Teen Health Bundle, and that's county funds for those purposes. We have Chromebooks, emergency connectivity funds, and then we also have Lenovo warranty and licenses, and we are using Step 7B funds to purchase those items.
Question, I had the stock in front of me. Right now is the purchase of a vehicle for driver's education along with the safety brake driver's ed teachers have on the right-hand side to provide for safety for the student as well as all the teacher, correct?
Yes, in addition to the McGraw-Hill Teen Health Safety Bundle, the Chromebooks, and then the Lenovo warranty and licenses.
That's not on mine. I don't see anything there wrong here.
Well, go to your Gmail account, and if you would open that up, Mr. Duncan, you'll see all that stuff that was emailed to you. But do you want that one? You want that one?
We do that one separate.
We can pull that one.
What is the team?
Anticipate any decisions made table any James Law or McGraw-Hill considerations at any time. Being a former driver's education teacher, I know the age of that other car. It's paramount that we have new, updated, safe equipment, driver's education instruction. So I support approved purchase of the driver's education car along with the additional safety material, like brake installation of the brake on the teacher's side.
Okay, I don't know if you heard, Stan made a motion specifically dealing with the driver's education car and the brake. Okay, Mr. McBride will second that. All those in favor of approving the driver's ed vehicle along with the accompanying safety fittings, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. Okay. Let's go ahead, we're gonna pull McGraw-Hill out separately. And I believe somebody had a question regarding that.
So,
Do you want this, the teen health books? The teen health books, he has a question about it.
Okay.
what's in that teen health book?
That's second. It's for secondary, right?
McGraw-Hill teen health book?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wellness textbooks, workbooks.
It's with the wellness, we have to go by state standards, so there's nothing in there that shouldn't be part of that, because it's vetted through our educators.
Yeah, it's following as far as following state standards. It is, yes.
All right, I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the McGraw-Hill Teen Health Bundle. Do I have a second? Motion by me, seconded by, we'll go with Mr. Angel here, it's just a little bit quicker. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain.
I abstain on any considerations for James Law or McGraw-Hill at all times.
All right, so by a vote of 4-0 with one abstaining, we have approved the McGraw-Hill. I make a motion we approve the rest of the purchases over $20,000. Motion by me, seconded by Jay, that we approve the rest of the purchases over $20,000. Do I have any further discussion?
Are we going to buy that just to get it to be bad? Is it leadership or stock?
Yeah, it's a rotation there, and it's nice to have a warranty, because something will get broken. I mean, you're dealing with students, and, well, even me, too. I mean, adults make mistakes, too. So the other thing is, it's just nice that we already have that in the Step 7B budget, but what's nice about that is our Step 7B, we haven't really had to touch a lot, because we've been using either eSurf, CARES, ARF, and I can't remember the other acronyms, but we'll call it COVID money.
Okay. Were we down to the vote on
Yeah, you have you, and then Jay, and
that? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Okay, so by a 5-0 vote, the remaining purchases over $20,000 have been approved. Next, we have discussion and possible action regarding meeting dates for November and December. I'm assuming this has to do with holidays.
Yeah, we're trying to work around the holidays, but also paying bills. So one board meeting could look like this, a traditional. The other could be in the morning just for about 30 minutes or more to just say we need to approve bills, because just the way the bills come in, they don't stop for holidays, never. And we want to make sure everything's timely as we move forward. So there was a couple of dates that have been thrown out there because of looking around bills. One was instead of having the November 16th meeting, and I'll have Ms. Crook correct me if I'm wrong, but we were, well, no, hold on. It was gonna be that Tuesday because we were trying to pick a date in between everything. But then we said, let's move it to the 2 Tuesdays in November on the 9th and the 30th, just to keep them spread out. Because if you do the Thursday, you always have Thanksgiving on Thursday, right? So that's why we moved it to that Tuesday to try to get in the middle of the month. But now with things going on, we'd like to move it to the 9th and 30th. If that doesn't work, it's a discussion for you all, but Ms. Crook can correct me if I'm wrong. The bills get paid a little bit easier if we keep it on the 9th and the 30th? Okay. So that's the discussion.
Okay, so the question was raised, are we still planning to have these at 6 p.m.? Are we gonna do, is that the plan, to do them at 6?
It would be nice to keep one traditional so people can come, but just to pay the bills, you can do it in the morning. If you would like to do it that way or not, it's your call. You want both in the evening? Okay, that's fine.
Evening's fine with me as well.
Well, you want to do 6?
Yeah, actually, having them on Tuesdays is particularly probably works better for me, yeah.
You have things to worry about too?
I do. Okay, all right, so, okay, what about December?
Well, I think December, we were looking at the 9th of December at 6 o'clock. And then, don't beat me up here, guys, but we're looking around the 23rd at 10 a.m. because that was a PL day for our staff anyway. So students wouldn't be at school that day, but our staff would. But if you guys, they could still, staff could still be part of a board meeting. But if you don't want to do it earlier, that's fine too. It's up for discussion. But I guarantee if you have it that evening, bah humbug.
I actually have.
Vice President Farley?
Yes.
May I put forth a motion?
Sure.
I move that this board set for November the dates of November the 9th and November the 30th at 6 p.m. And then in December, we set the date and time December the 9th, 6 p.m. And on December the 23rd at 10 a.m.
Okay,
Okay.
we're working on the time on the 23rd meeting. Stay, bear with us just for a
That's
moment.
okay.
Okay, so,
I can draw that rephrase it if that's bad or something.
okay, so you said, you said 8:30 worked better for both of you? It happens in the morning meeting works better for me that day as well. We have a free meeting that evening.
Okay, I'll restate the motion.
Okay?
I move this board set the meeting times for the month of November or at 6 p.m. on November the 9th and November the 30th. Additionally, meeting times for December will be December the 9th at 6 p.m. and on December the 23rd at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, I will second that motion. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Okay, so we have now set the meeting dates and times for November and December. All right, next. Yeah, we struck C. D, policy 4C1. I have to remember my Roman numerals. Employee student dress code.
I would want to handle that.
So
Well-
this is where I would like to make a comment.
Okay, just a second, Stan, just a second, yeah. Okay.
I think if you could obtain a copy of the student handbook from the high school. I did look through that today and I looked at the student dress, what the handbook says regarding the student dress code. And I think that it would give you a very good framework to establish this policy from. It doesn't have a lot of the outdated items that you were referencing. So I have it electronically because I did ask for a copy of that. I can forward it to you or if you want
Sure.
to reach out to Mr. Moses.
No, I think that'd be great.
That
and
section-
they need to match anyway.
Yeah, that section in the handbook is very, it covers, I think, what needs to be covered in a dress code policy.
Okay.
If you guys, I will forward you all a copy of the handbook to look at. But again, it gives you a framework, and as you said, then the policy matches what is in the handbook.
That's right.
And we don't have to go and reinvent the handbook.
Right. And did you all, the other question out there was, do you want to separate the employee and student policies into two different policies?
I think that would be a good idea, yes.
I'll do that too.
Do they need to make a
Okay,
motion to
Stan's
split?
gonna, Stan, I know you can't hear. Okay, I know you can't hear. What was said was Greg suggested that we forward the student handbook, to Trey, because it has a section on what is appropriate dress code, that has some of the more outdated verbiage left out. So that the two would match, that the policy and the handbook that is given to students every year would match. Additionally, we were discussing whether or not we should separate the staff and student dress codes and make them two separate policies.
Is there a motion on the floor?
And Greg also said that he would send you a copy of that dress code so you can see it. And I do not currently have a motion on the floor.
Okay. I move that the board, the superintendent, enter into discussion with our attorney to separate staff and students. Furthermore, to look at the student handbook to make it compliant, and that the attorney and Superintendent Moore will bring back their suggestions for consideration by the board at the next meeting.
That's the motion. Okay, motion on the floor by Stan, seconded by Jay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Okay, so the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. The motion is passed. E, discussion and possible action to hire McKinley and Associates to oversee bus garage renovations.
So, since we have it on the calendar, we need to have them oversee that.
Well, the reason why I put this on there is because of the discussion. If you want to go ahead and put your stake in the sand right now, when you enter into an agreement, he can tell me if I'm off, but you only can go 1 year at a time with a contract like this, correct? I'm just trying to buy us more time if we couldn't, because earlier we said any other projects, and you get into a situation where I almost want the bus garage to have a full attention to
Contracts
say-
can be longer than a year. There has to be an exit clause. Like
Right.
you have to have the right to exit as a county board.
Okay.
For financial reasons. You
I-
can't just like say, hey, we just don't like you anymore. You know, but if there's a financial issue, you have a right to exit that contract, after, 1 year.
And that would give them time to start drawings, not only for the drainage. I don't care who does drainage, it's gonna be the same thing. You want water to go around the building and not drain towards the wall. But we also have to structurally fix the wall, and nobody has done that. So when McKinley when they're gonna be here for the middle school edition and talk, they're gonna also look at the bus garage, and I can say, on this date, they approved you all to move forward. I just wanted to put that stake in the sand so we can get this done and done correctly. Because we're all tired of hearing about drainage. We want to fix the wall and the drainage. Is that right? Okay.
What my thought would be, based on the conversations I've heard, but I'm not assuming, you may very well know things that I don't know about, so I'm not assuming I know everything about this situation, but given the prior conversations that have been had, board meetings, what I would suggest is, if you're gonna make a motion, you would make a motion to amend the scope. I believe there was talk about that the scope that was defined for McKinley actually could have already included this project anyway. That it was within the scope of what the project's gonna be. And just to make clear on the record is what you're wanting, that the board is considering this project to be within the scope of the existing.
Well, my goal is to protect the board and anybody that's involved with it, including McKinley, so we can have, like we did with ZMM, an exit clause, because if you're not happy with him, we can always find another engineer if you will.
What? Yeah.
Does that help you, Mr. Angel? I don't know if Mr. Duncan has a question.
Well, for the sake of getting this project going, we made the decision to put it into 3 phases. The first phase, of course, is the structural support of that roof immediately, and that's phase 1. And that's to protect our employees and to make sure that that wall doesn't blow out either by natural causes or by the fact when we start working on it. So, somebody can follow up with this additional motion, but I would move this board approve the hiring of McKinley certified structural engineer for phase 1 to specify the load-bearing components of columns and where they should be placed on that wall, and also to check the concrete that they're going to sit on to make sure it will hold that weight. That's phase 1. I'll repeat that if you want me to.
We have the phase 1, 2, and 3 in your all's handout, so I think we're good there, Mr. Duncan.
With my motion?
Yeah, we're good.
This is 1 and 2.
They're looking at the phases involved.
Yes. See the 1 and 2 phase.
You should. I thought any statement that would be there.
I've got one on the back, but it's still got the phase 1, phase 2.
Do what?
I think it's just title one.
Actually, that could be phase 2 or 1, depending on what they have.
Okay, so Mr. Duncan has made a motion, that we approve McKinley to begin, overseeing phase 1. Is that correct? You had limited it to phase 1?
That is,
Okay.
for the sake of getting this project going and for the safety of the people, I move that we engage McKinley structural engineer to specify the type of columns and where they should be set to support that roof, and to verify that the concrete floor will hold that weight. And then that to be done immediately so that we can get that started.
Mr. Duncan, I want to ask you a question. Are you sure you want to just have them do phase 1 because phase 2 has a lot of specs about other items that deal with the wall and drainage and other things that involve the engineer to include that as both drainage and the structural integrity of the wall.
If someone, any of the other 4 members, put forth an amendment to my motion, we can vote on the amendment and then consider the whole motion. If they want to amend it to say what you're suggesting on phase 2 and 3, they can put forth an amendment. We'll vote on that amendment, and then we'll move to pass the entire motion and verify with Mr. Moreau. And I think that would be the correct procedure.
He's nodding and saying that's correct.
He's actually agreeing with you, and sometimes I hate that when he agrees with you, but okay.
Okay, I will make an amendment that we approve McKinley to oversee phases 1 and 2.
Phase 3 is just drywall and insulation.
Okay, so phases 1 and 2 of the bus garage
Is that right, Joe?
renovation.
That's my consent.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll say.
All right. Motion by Stan, amendment by me, second by Mr. Brogan. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Wait a minute. I believe we have to vote on the amendment, do we not, separately from the whole motion as Mr. Moreau? I think
Yes, you're voting on the amendment.
Okay, so we are voting on the amendment only. Voting on the amendment only. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, let the minutes reflect that by a 5-0 vote, that was passed.
Now you vote on the whole motion. I know that seems like you're doing it again, but yes.
Okay. All right, so the original motion was made by Stan.
Yeah, you voted to amend the original motion, and you just passed that, and now your vote would be to approve the motion on the floor.
Okay, well, I will second this motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
I vote for my motion, yes.
All right. By a motion of 5, by a vote of 5-0, the motion passes. Okay. Item G. Discussion and possible action regarding public comment and delegation policy. And we have also folded into that, I guess, discussion, possible action regarding limitation of public comment. Did I skip F? Okay.
F is the action.
Oh, okay. All right, I see.
I can talk to you about it.
On F, the reason why we put down special meeting is you'll see in the paper tomorrow, we'll do a pre-bid for the engineer to be there with all the contractors. And then on the 15th of November at 1 o'clock, we'll open up all the bids that people put in, because the week before, on the 9th, we're going to have the pre-bid conference. That gives them the rest of that week into following Monday by 1 o'clock to get all their bids into the central office. We'll open them at 1 o'clock and see who was the lowest bid with all their credentials. And you guys could have a special board meeting that night to approve a contractor, or the next day if you all would like to do that. If you don't, then we would wait till the 30th, because that's the next board meeting, would be the 30th. But if you had a special board meeting to get them on this so we can move and get going, because spring will be here quick enough, and we want to make sure once we're springtime, we're shovel ready to get this done. But before we get to that, we want to see if possible we can remove that wall and start sealing that up from the elements, but yet have it braced and ready to go possibly. But I don't know until we get people in there that know more than I do about this. So that's the reason why I put this on there, in case you guys wanted to have a special board meeting. If you need to think about it, you have a meeting on November 9th. You don't have to vote tonight, It's just, I put it on there in case you would like to make an action and have it ready to go.
Board President, I'm going to say that I want to have a special meeting. I don't care if it's Monday evening after the bids are open or if it's Tuesday morning, and I'll leave that up to the discretion. But there's been enough delay on this, I want to avoid any further delay. I want those bids to be approved as soon as we get acceptable bids. I want to get them approved so that whoever the contractor is, they can get started on this because it is paramount. And we get the columns, whether it's LDLs, steel IV, whatever type of columns have to be designated by the structural engineer to put up there. I want to know that that roof is not going anywhere coming down the employee. So I will call a special meeting. You all discuss when you want it. You want it 6 p.m. after the bids are open on that same day, or if you want it on Tuesday.
Monday evening?
Not for Miss Farley.
Monday evening's over.
Is that Tuesday? Is that what you're saying? Is that Tuesday?
She's saying Tuesday. I'm just listening. You guys.
I can do Tuesday easier, or I can join Monday by phone.
Well,
That's been tremendously successful this evening.
Monday's gonna be a quick, that's gonna be a very quick meeting.
Wait just a second, Stan, wait just a second.
Are you
Or if you do it at 6,
well, so, what if we did it at 3:30?
that would be better, I can do that.
And you get it, how's that fit you, 3 through 5? That's fine. I mean, I'm thinking, because that should be a very quick meeting.
If they're acceptable bids, then we would bring it to you. If not, you don't need to have a meeting. But if you want to do it at 4:35 on Monday, I work for you guys. You just tell me.
Okay, so, where's 4:30 or 5? 4:30. Is that okay for everybody else?
That's the
Okay, how does 4:30, 4:30 on Monday?
4:30 on Monday will be, as the board president, I'm calling a special meeting on Monday at 4:30. And what was the date?
The 15th.
15th. Monday the 15th, 4:30 special meeting to see if the bids are acceptable and to possibly approve the bid. We'll talk later about how the agenda items should read. That's all we have to do on that.
Right, okay. All right, now, item G. Discussion and possible action regarding public comment and delegation policy, and discussion and possible action regarding limitation to public comment.
I'm going to put forth a motion unless somebody else has one or if there's discussion.
We have a discussion.
I just want to say, I welcome public comment, as Trey alluded to, I think public comment is healthy. We are here sitting in these seats at the will of the public. Sometimes we might like what the public says, sometimes we might not. As a person of the public who has spoken at previous board meetings, I don't like a time limit of 3 minutes. 3 minutes does not give you time to say what needs to be said, depending on what the topic is. I think that a very good example of public comment being successful, and we didn't stick with the 3-minute time limit, even though we said we were going to, was the reentry one. We had some very good comments that came out of that. It gave us as board members time to address those comments, time to think about those comments, and to make an informed decision based on those comments. Now, that being said, I don't think that we need to leave it open-ended so that a meeting can last for, I mean, the opposed to saying, I like it, a delegate for a group of people who feel the same way. But I also want to make sure we give the public enough time to present what they want to present, but yet we also respect the time limit of the meeting and give ourselves enough time to conduct business.
I should have added in there, if I didn't say it up there, we had a provision that you always, as a board, could extend the period.
And that was something I
Yeah,
was
but a
gonna
board
mention.
has to, like,
Yeah.
the board president doesn't necessarily just decide that, or whoever's chairing the meeting doesn't decide, we're just gonna give this person more, that person more. The board as a group can decide, for some reason, we've got more people here this evening, like the masking, you had a lot of people. You could give, let's say you say you're gonna have 30 minutes generally, it's gonna be 5 minutes apiece. I'm just making that up. Whatever time you come up with, that's 6 people, but you have 10. So you might decide we're going to keep everybody 5 minutes. We're going to go 50 minutes tonight. I mean, you have a right as a board to change that, but just as, and it was rare to ever have to do that, but we did that on occasion too.
And that's kind of what I was also thinking is some type of flexibility in the policy that would allow us to extend any type of limitation. But the last thing I want to do is keep the public from being able to comment. That was done with previous board members and well, I was thinking, so.
Well, maybe this is too simplistic. Would it be advisable to maybe look at what other counties do to see what is the normal amount of time?
I
mean, is
could-
15 the normal or?
15's a lot. I don't know of anybody that would just allow everybody to talk 15 minutes, no matter how many people. I think that the main thing is how much of your evening do you want to, as a standing rule, allocate to public comment. You may have evenings that we had times that nobody came. We had times that 3 people came. It would be rare for us to have a time that so many people came that you had to cut the 5 minutes down. So, we had 5 minutes. I mean, I could look at other counties and see, but I don't think 15 minutes without any cap on the amount of time we're going to spend this evening, that's not standard. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't want to, I know you want to encourage people to come to me if they have something about board business to talk about, but you also have, as you see this evening, you have a lot of business already on your agenda to take care of, so, it can become time consuming. And the other thing I could have mentioned earlier too that would be part of the process that I would encourage you to have in the policy is it's always important to, when you have people sign in, to know what they're going to talk about, because a lot of things people are coming maybe to air out a grievance of their own. There's a process for that. Maybe it's something involving a teacher or a principal or something, and there should have already been redirected to handle that at a certain level. The fact that something's coming to the board, you should, as board members, as I did, I would have to assume it's a matter that couldn't have been resolved before it came to the board, or it shouldn't be here. It's not really just to come and complain about everything. It's to bring a matter to the board's attention that the process has been exhausted, or it's something on the agenda of importance that the person wants to say, hey, I have something to say about something you're going to vote on this evening. I think it's important for you to hear what I have to say. That's a really good, example of public input.
Any further discussion? Okay, Stan, were you able to hear Trey?
We heard Trey's discussion of this previously in the meeting, and I don't think 3 minutes is long enough for a public comment by an individual either. I tend to think more in line with 5 minutes for an individual, and I would defer to the rest of the board on how many minutes they think should be for a delegation should be allowed to have. And my suggestion, if we're not going to make a decision on this tonight, my decision would be that we direct the superintendent, based upon the information you've heard here tonight, and based upon the things you heard Mr. Barone suggest earlier, for the superintendent and Mr. Barone to craft and put together a policy and bring it back before the board next meeting so we can look at it in detail and consider it. wasn't able to hear all the other discussions, so I don't know if I'm not dealing with everything or not, so you can tell me.
No, actually, I think that sort of falls in line with what we were discussing. Okay. Not yet.
There are two policies that somewhat deal with public input into moving, 2B1 and 2B6.
You're exactly right. I had that right in my notes. They
The
overlap.
thing is, they both deal with the same subject, but they're not in agreement.
Well, 2B1 at the end of it has a couple paragraphs that
Yeah.
you've probably seen that relate to the public participation policy. So we really need to take that out. So the appropriate thing would be to bring both those policies back to you so that you can handle them together, because the public participation component is kind of set forth in two different policies. You've got one totally on public participation, but there's a couple of comments in 2B1 that also relate to that. So to avoid confusion, I think those need to be stricken, and then this one needs to be revised. But very good eye. Really?
I'm trying.
Yeah, really. Because I noted that myself, and I was like,
You know, they say even lines four,
they're very good. Seriously, impressed with that.
You're suggesting that those policies be stricken?
I'll bring those. No, I'll bring them both. I think when we bring them back, we should bring 2B1 and 2B6 back.
Bring 2B1 and 2B6. Okay, so I do not have a motion. Was that a motion, Stan?
I think you motioned to correct and put together a policy for the Board of Ed to consider.
Okay, was that a motion, Stan?
Was that a motion? I don't know.
No, it wasn't. I was saying, I was making general conversation. I was ready to put forth a motion, if it's okay.
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 You're ready for a motion?
Yes.
Okay. First, all right. I move the board direct the superintendent to work with Attorney Marone to revise our existing policy, individual public comment, and delegation policy for comment. Craft that into a new policy, bring it to the board's next meeting for our consideration, and we'll discuss it at that time. And we'll just put it on the next meeting, discussion possible action regarding public comment, delegation of policy. So that's my motion.
Okay, I will second that motion. Do we have any further discussion?
Say, for public record, the board president and this entire board welcomes public comment by anybody in our community. We do that because we all welcome that. We're all keenly aware of First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, and this is the people's business. We're here to do the people's business, and that's why we welcome public comment. We're also keenly aware of the right to redress public group, redress of petition, to redress any agreement. We're perfectly well with that. But I would want to point out that congressional hearings, speakers are limited to a certain amount of time. And that is not an infringement upon First Amendment rights. So it is ordinary and common to have limitations. Watch the United States Congress and you'll see time limits on the amount of time people can speak. That's my only discussion on this.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify a distinction there, because that has come up several times this evening. There's a difference between the right to speak at a meeting, which is what we're talking about under policy, which you all have indicated you want to respect that, to give it. It's something for you to give, and you all have indicated you want to have that right to speak. Freedom of speech, First Amendment right, is about your right to say what you want to say. It's about the content of your speech. That's your right. Your right is to say what's on your mind. The right to speak at this meeting is not a First Amendment right. I just want to distinguish that. But the right to say what's on your mind, that's your First Amendment right. I just wanted to clarify that because I think it's kind of gotten muddled up a little bit this evening, and make sure that that's clear.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Duncan, seconded by me. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. By a 5-0 vote, the motion has passed. Okay. Item number 12, personnel. You have before you a list. These names were all submitted to you at the start of the meeting. So, does anyone need any of these taken out separately, or are we okay to do these all at one time? Okay.
Do you have a name there? Oh, you're right.
All right.
Did you announce that one name that was
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I was told there was one name that was added late. That was Erica Merrill for assistant girls basketball coach at the middle school. Erica Merrill?
That posting came down, and we couldn't give you a name until 3 o'clock officially, but we did have it posted on an agenda item. We just didn't have a name because of the posting deadline. So I know those two don't always jive up at the same time, but it was out for public to see that we were going to hire someone. If someone applied, that's the issue at hand. So she is a local graduate. I met her, I think, at the Mermaid Festival. She was one of the gals there, and seems like she's into basketball. A co-captain or something at the college level. Real nice girl. So I just know that we have a basketball coach over here who says we need a junior high basketball coach, and we need to get it now because we start Monday. We start Monday.
Okay, I make a motion. We approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment service personnel, employment substitute teacher, employment substitute service, employment professional extracurricular. I think that's all of them. And we don't have any parent volunteers. That one is blank still yet, correct? All right, so that's my motion. Do I have a second? Okay. All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining. Let the record show that we had a 5-0 vote. The motion passed. All right. Item number 13, superintendent's report.
I'll make this short and sweet. We've had a lot of discussion, so this kind of goes with the report. You've heard about the bus garage wall. We're dealing with that starting tomorrow. Real quick, academically, we're trying to dial down into what we can do to still make our students more successful. And the best way to do that is for us to continue to work with Dr. Edwards, our principals, and our staff to really hone in on their instructional development as they teach the students. Teaching also goes with learning. You can't teach all day and expect learning. It just doesn't work that way. There's no sitting and getting. You got to get kids involved in the lesson. We will give you more details at the next board meeting because I know you've gone through a lot of stuff that you have to update with policies and things of that nature. But real quickly, yesterday I was very proud of my central office staff and some young people that attend this school. Jacob and Emily Smith, Marley Metter, and Lawson Jones. Lawson was our cameraman. The other three did a lot of talking and answering questions of 30 young adults at Concord University who are ready to embark on becoming teachers. It used to be TIR, now it's CTR. Thanks, Ms. Jones, for nodding. I appreciate that. And they're changing that acronym, and we had, off the top of my head, 5 or 6 that are biting. And when you have a fish on the line, you get them in the boat. So on Monday and Tuesday of next week, we're going to start interviewing these youngsters because they are interested in working here in Summers County. The professors there spoke highly of our county, said it's a great place to go, work and live, and you guys can be part of that change agent because they're asking for you all to apply. We handed them orange folders with information about our county. We gave them contact information. Mr. Kuhn made sure there was an application in each folder, and we had people come up and talk to us as we ate pizza. We were college kids for about 2 hours and hung out there, and I'll tell you right now, you should be proud of the 2 Smith kids, Mr. Lawson here, who did all the videoing, and also Marley, because she came from a point of view as a kid from 6 through 12, because she's been through all the levels now, saying we need people to come here because Mr. Sears is not wrong. We do have an issue, but we're not the only county or the only state having a problem with trying to fill these positions. I do listen to people. I do understand he doesn't want me to be the superintendent, and that's fine. This is a free country. You can say that, and I'm okay with that. But I will say right now, you should be very proud of your central office and also of your young kids that went there. And I know they went home to talk to mom and dad about saying, wow, we got to speak highly of our county. We do appreciate our county. Our kids said one thing that I kept hearing. They said our bus drivers, custodians, teachers, and administration, they basically said, we know they care about us. That's a great message to hear if I'm looking at this wanting to get a job. We did have one young adult ask a question. How do you guys handle conflict? And it was just kind of interesting because as a teacher, you're going to have conflict. And I thought Marley handled it well. Jacob and Emily handled it well. And you all heard Emily speak at a board meeting about being dyslexic. She did that presentation in a nutshell with the students. And it was really nice to see our youngsters talk to young adults who really are interested in coming here. On a side note, we have 2 young ladies who are interested in coaching softball if they got a teaching position here. And those 2 even talked to each other. It was really nice. I see you guys perking up a little bit. It's not all about sports, but let's be honest, our girls didn't get a chance to participate. So we need to take talent and start funneling it into our county. And the best way we can do that is open our doors and go out and headhunt. So you will hear these students at the next board meeting. This guy right there, he even put at the end that he is a sophomore and he did the camera work. So I like how he's the editor, director, producer, and he put his name at the end. But he was there with the camera, and he is putting together for you guys a couple minutes of a program to see it, and then I'll let the students talk on their behalf. But you should be very, very proud of those youngsters, and we were really excited to have them speak from the heart. They didn't tear down the county. Our county has a lot to offer. We gotta look at the positives. It's easy to find the negatives, but it depends what you're looking for. And I looked at these youngsters talking highly of their school system, and yet they said, we've got some work to do. I appreciate that criticism. It's not bad, and I asked them to speak from the heart. It was not scripted, and I really appreciate them stepping out. I can tell you right now, if I was their age again, going to a college to speak in front of people, it was not an easy task to do. But as we move forward, I think what we learn from it, we're going to take principles, and we're going to say, let's sit down and have an interview. I think if we're going to do it better, we're going to make sure the principals are there next time, because Ms. Crook talked to them about finances and those things, because nobody wants to ask in an interview, how much am I going to make? It sounds kind of dirty, you know, because it should be a calling to be a teacher, but you also got to make a living. So we helped them walk through how it works, and then we told them, if you go to another county, this is very similar, other than we're nicer. I know I might embellish, but we have to headhunt, and we have to go out and look for these people. It's just a different day and age. Teaching is not an easy position to fill. Bus drivers are not an easy position to fill. Custodians and maintenance is not an easy position to fill. So when people say we're not filling positions, I'm not going to argue with them. I agree with them, but we also can't stick our heads in the sand and say we're not all having this problem. But we can't complain anymore. We need to go and do something about it. So I'm very proud of our central office, and I'm very proud of our students for making us look pretty doggone good. And the next time we do it, we might want to throw out swag and give them some orange and black. But we only have so much in the budget right now. But anyway, one other thing. Tomorrow, if you want a booster shot, flu shot, come here to the auditorium at 1 o'clock.
1 to 3.
1 to 3 tomorrow. If you want to get a flu shot and a booster shot, that's your call. I'm just going to go with the booster right now because if you do a double dose, I might not have a good weekend is what I'm thinking. So you are allowed to come and get a booster shot or a flu shot or both. That's your call tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I believe the elementaries might have it in the morning, but you guys call the elementary that you might want to go to that's closer to where you live. And if you want to go to the elementary, you're more than welcome to get a shot there. I would call to see if you can get squeezed in. So they're probably going to be there from 8-ish to noonish, and then come here. 8:45 to 10 at Talcott, 10:30 to 12 at Hinton area. Okay? Any questions or dialogue, I'll be glad to answer that for you.
Any questions or dialogue?
It ain't all about sports, but it is about people interested in what they want it to be.
I had two ladies fighting over softball coaching. I mean, in a positive way.
So they're in sports, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, item 14, discussion of next agenda.
Put on there, we can handle that later.
Okay. Item 15, adjournment. I'm going to adjourn myself. The time